Your needs have got to come second to the needs of those families that have experienced that tremendous loss. Whether it's a 94-year-old grandmother or whether it's an 8-year-old little baby girl, their needs have got to supersede yours. My name is Jimmy Brown, and I'm a funeral director. My wife and I own funeral homes in eastern Colorado, and we take care of families when they have loved ones that have died. We're in the chapel area of our funeral home in Eads. We have 3 small locations across the Eastern Plains. It's been a good way of living for us, but it does come with a price. You're maybe not necessarily the most popular person in town because, you know, what kind of person deals with the dead? But really, it's as much about dealing with the living as it is about dealing with the dead. Thankfully, I married a woman that was willing to make that sacrifice with me.
So on our first date, Jimmy, he drove to Greeley where I was living in his Suburban, which had a mortuary cot in the back. It wasn't really what I was expecting, but I guess it didn't scare me away. I'm Amanda Brown, and I'm a CPA here in Eads, Colorado. I also help my husband at the funeral home here in Eads.
When you are a small town funeral director, you're it.
We are on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Death does not have a schedule. It does not have a time clock.
And our job is to help people, you know, through probably the hardest time of their lives when they've lost a loved one.
Finding people to succeed my generation is one of the great challenges that the death care profession is facing right now. I know of 4 or 5 funeral homes within 200 miles or less of here that are all looking for help, and we cannot find it. I spoke with colleges. I spoke with probably 8 or 9 of the mortuary schools. You're swimming upstream because we just don't have the students to do this. So this is our casket room. We're proud of the fact that in all 3 of our small funeral homes, we still offer families the opportunity to see, feel, and touch what it is that they're going to be placing their loved one's body in. As of a few months ago, there was over 1,100 funeral homes in the United States of America in search of funeral director embalmers. And it's a problem that is on the horizon, and people need to be taking this serious because whether we want to admit to it or not, there will always be death, and the dead must be taken care of.
I've been helping out every way I can, sometimes working funerals. My name is Karsten, and I'm going to be a freshman at Eads High School. This summer, my Uncle Jimmy, he asked me if I was interested to come help at his funeral home.
I told him, I said, listen, if you think you have an interest in this, I'd be willing to give you the opportunity to determine whether or not you feel called to do this work.
I still don't really know exactly what I'm gonna do, but I do think that this business would be good for me.
I've watched him grow up, and I've observed his temperament.
I think that temperament he saw might have been like just the sort of personality I have.
I felt that he had the potential to do this work. What we do, what our family does, is more than a job. We're called to do this. Rarely do I see a strange face in the families that we serve here. Because of that relationship, they expect more of you. They're not calling you because of where your building is located. They call you because you're the one that they want. You're the person that they trust at that time in their life. There is no greater form of flattery than that. So I graduated from the University of Central Oklahoma. I actually completed my coursework in December of '91. When I began this work in 1988, when we would have a funeral here in Eads, every business in town would close. The courthouse would close for an hour. Funeral procession would go down Main Street, regardless of what church it was held at. Folks would be standing on Main Street with their hat in their hand. Everyone came to a funeral. It was funeral was top priority. When someone died, the community grieved as a whole. Funerals are still important. Funerals are still well attended, but nothing like it used to be. I'm growing increasingly concerned about the lack of respect that we have for the dying process. Our world has tried to convince us that our lives don't matter, but they do. Each and every one matters.